Okay, we're going to spend a couple days working on piecewise functions. Okay, we're going to find values of them, we're going to graph them, and we're going to state the domain and the range of them. So just on the front part here of your worksheet, these are just pictures of piecewise functions. And this one, number 2, is a good example. Okay, this is one piece of the graph, and this is the other piece of the graph. Okay, now they're functions, so they should pass the vertical line test if they're a function. This one would not be a function because it doesn't pass the vertical line test. So we're going to talk about piecewise functions. Now we're going to do the domain and the range tomorrow, so let's scroll down and get to finding values of a piecewise function. So in number 5, you can see that you've got 2 different equations. So this first equation would make one part of the picture, so one piece of the problem. This second equation would make the second part of the equation, or the piece of the function. All right, so there's 2 separate pictures, and then it's all grouped together as one. Notice, off to the side here, you've got some information about x. And this information is the domain because it's x's. Okay? So if you're going to put a number in to this whole thing and it's less than 2, it goes into this top one. If it's greater than 2, it goes into the bottom one. So when you go to do these problems now, you have to decide which one should I put it into. Now these are just machines like we've been using before, so this machine squares it, multiplies it by 2, and adds 3. This machine multiplies by -3 and subtracts 5. So letter A, f of -3. So is -3 less than 2 or greater than 2? It's less than 2. So we're going to plug it into this top one. So we want to do 2 times -3 squared plus 3. So this machine squares it. That's 9. So 2 times 9 plus 3. 2 times 9 is 18 plus 3 is 21. F of 7. Which one should you plug it into? Well, is it smaller than 2 or bigger than 2? Well, it's bigger than 2, so we need to plug it into this bottom one. So multiply it by -3 and get -21, and subtract 5 and get -26. Find f of 2. Well, is 2 less than or equal to 2 or greater than 2? Well, since it's equal to, you plug it into the top one. So square it and get 4, multiply that by 2 and get 8, and add 3 and get 11. Now letter D just has you doing 2 parts. Well, if you look, you've got the answers for those individually. So what's f of 7? Well, you told me it was -26. Subtract f of 2, which you said was 11. -26 minus 11 is -37. And so for all of these problems, you do the same thing. So let's find some that maybe look a little different. Over here in 6D, how would you do just this problem? Well, it'd be nice if we had done some of these, but we didn't, so that's okay. So what do we need to do here? We need to first find g of -8. Okay, so I'm going to go up here to write that answer. Where are we going to plug into if it's -8? Is that bigger than -6 or smaller than -6? It's smaller than -6, so I need to plug it in here. So 2/3 times -8 minus 4. Now 3 doesn't go into 8, so you might want to grab your calculator. I don't have a calculator, so I'll do it by hand. That's -16/3 minus 12/3, so it's -28/3. Okay, for this problem, we also need to know what g of 3 is. So you got to go up here. Where should I put the 3? Well, the 3 is bigger than negative 6, so I need to put it in here. So negative 1/2 times 3 plus 1. Again, use your calculator if you want. That's negative 3/2 plus 2/2, which is negative 1/2. This says take 3 times this answer. So I need 3 times negative 28/3 plus 2 times this answer, which was negative 1/2. Well, now it's not so hard because these things cancel, and I end up with negative 28 minus 1, which is negative 29. All right. Piecewise functions can have more than 2 pieces. So these two have 3 pieces. Numbers smaller than negative 2 go in here. Numbers between negative 2 and positive 2 go in this second one. And bigger than 2 goes in the third one. So where would you do number B here? Where are you going to put negative 2 in at? Well, it's not less than negative 2, it's equal to negative 2, so it has to go in here. So 2 times negative 2 cubed. That's 2 times negative 8, which is negative 16. Where would you plug in negative 5? Well, that's smaller, so that goes into the top one. Well, no matter what, in this top one, y is equal to negative 4. So you don't really have to do any math on that. It's always negative 4 no matter what you put in there, as long as the number is less than negative 2. All right, so you could finish those. Same type of things as before. Let's go to graphing them. So what do these look like when you graph them? All right. There's a couple different ways to show you how to do this. I'm going to show you my way first, and then I'll show you another way, and you pick which one you like to do the best. I just look at these two equations. This one is y is equal to negative 4. So go ahead and put an x and a y axis on. And if I want to graph y equals negative 4, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I would graph this line. Okay? Now, I have to look at this domain. This line only exists for x if we're less than 0. So here's x is 0. So when x is 1, are you on this line anymore? No. So what we have to do is we have to erase that part of the line. We only want this part of the line. So x has to be less than 0 to be on that line. All right, part 2. Y is equal to 2x plus 4. Well, we would go up to 4 and then up 2 to the right 1, down 2. And so we would get all of these numbers. Now you could graph the whole line, but is the whole line being used? Well, you have to look at the domain. When do you start getting on this orange line? Not until you're after 0. So here's 0. We would need to put an open circle around that because it's not included. And then we want to go out from there. So we don't use this part of the orange line. So you would erase that part of the orange line. That's going to erase that, so I don't want to do that. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So that x-axis went right here. So those are the 2 pieces to the graph. All right, try another one. Let's go. I'll show you what these charts are for when we do another one here. Let's do number 12 because that looks hard. Okay? Number 12. Put an x and a y axis on. All right, so we have y equals negative 2. So that would be this whole line. But do we want the whole thing? Nope. We want to start this at what? Left of -3. So go to -3 and go down to where the line would be. We want to include that point, and we want to go left. So that's all of this line we wanted. It doesn't go all the way across. It only goes from -3 and down. This one, 2/3 x plus 1. So we would go up to 1 and then count up 2 over 3, up 2 over 3, down 2 over 3. So if we could connect all those if we wanted to, but we only want to connect them from where to where? -3 to 6, not including them. So here's the -3 number, so open circle. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the way to this guy, open circle. Connect them. So there's that piece of the problem. And then this one, -2x plus 8. So we have to go up to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll say this is 8. Then we go down 2 over 1, 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 right? Now I did a whole bunch of those because this guy's domain doesn't start until 6. So I have to count out to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down here on the pink, do we include it? Is it closed or open? It's equal to 6, so it's closed circle, and then I want to go out from him. So we go this way. So the rest of that pink stuff could be erased. I don't want to erase some of those because it's going to take other parts of the graph off. So that's the way that I do it. Now some people will do it with these charts, okay? So you can do it with the charts this way if you want to. You look at this, it says x is greater than 0. So y equals 5 when x is greater than 0. So pick some numbers that are bigger than 0. So we're going to pick 0 because it's equal to. Then we're going to pick 1. Then we're going to pick 2. What's y always? 5. So you just pick a few and then you put 5s in here. So we're going to graph that. So 0, 5. That's on the graph. 1, 5 is on the graph. 2, 5 is on the graph. And anything bigger than 0. So all these are on the graph. We could have made the chart bigger. So all of this is that top one. So when you go to make your next chart, you have to pick numbers that are smaller than 0. Okay? So the first number is smaller than 0. Let's do -0.9. And then I'll start using whole numbers. -1, -2. Okay? So you would have to plug those in here and see what you get. Well, now that doesn't come out very nice. Okay? So that's just really one of the reasons why I don't use these. What I would have done is I would have said, we'll go up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And count down 4 to the right 5. Down 4 to the right 5. You'd be out here somewhere. And that would be the line. But where do we have to stop the line? At 0. Now that would be an open circle, correct? But it's already a closed circle from which one? The one above it. So this is one piece, and it's actually connected to this piece. So sometimes they're not connected. Sometimes they are connected. It doesn't really make a difference. You could use this method down here, but I would need a calculator to plug those numbers in. So that's why I went to the other method from there. So I just want you to try some of these on the worksheet. Or, you know what, just finish these ones that we didn't do. You need to practice this. So your homework is to finish the rest of the notes worksheet. And tomorrow we'll talk about doing 1 through 4 with the domain and the range.